Some stories are never finished. They're just filed away. Welcome to Chronicles of the Obscure, December 22nd, 1973. Imagine the deep, cold quiet of the Ozark Mountains, a silence broken only by the crunch of frost underfoot and the occasional hum of a passing car. This is Piedmont, Missouri, a small town settling into the cozy rhythms of the holiday season. Christmas lights twinkle on front porches, casting a warm glow on the frosty air. But on this night, the rural tranquility is shattered, not by holiday cheer, but by a frantic call crackling over the police radio. Sheriff John Buckner and his deputy, their voices tight with disbelief, are reporting a massive, silent object. It's shaped like a triangle, larger than a city block, and it's gliding low and slow over the town, blotting out the winter stars. This wasn't an isolated report from a lone driver on a dark road. This was the sheriff, and he wasn't alone. This single, startling call was the spark that ignited a firestorm of sightings across Missouri, Arkansas, Illinois, and beyond, all in the days leading up to Christmas. Air National Guard pilots, seasoned police chiefs, and ordinary families out for a drive all began reporting strange lights and impossible crafts that defied every known law of flight. The sheer volume was staggering, but the true, undeniable core of this mystery wouldn't coalesce until Christmas night itself. As families gathered around their trees, the scattered sightings unified into a single, breathtaking event. A coordinated police chase across the rugged Ozark landscape, multiple departments radioing back and forth in a state of controlled panic were pursuing something that, according to the official records that would follow, was never there. This is the story of the 1973 Ozark UFO Flap, a case where the primary observers were the authorities themselves, and their sworn testimony created a permanent crack in the official story. Let's open the evidence locker and log the testimony from those sworn to serve and protect. It all begins with the Piedmont sighting. Sheriff Buckner's initial report was stunning in its detail. A vast, gray, triangular craft adorned with brilliant, multicolored lights, moving with an eerie silence and a deliberate, slow pace. This wasn't a man prone to flights of fancy. His credibility in the community was unimpeachable. His report was precise, professional, and deeply unnerving. Just days later, the phenomenon appeared in the skies over neighboring Illinois. An Air National Guard pilot, flying a routine training mission, suddenly found he wasn't alone. He radioed in a report of a massive, dark, triangular object pacing his aircraft, effortlessly matching its speed and maneuvers before vanishing. Again, this wasn't a casual observer. It was a military pilot trained to identify aerial phenomena. Then comes the centerpiece, the event that elevates this from a series of strange sightings to a legendary case, the Christmas night chase. At around 10:30 p.m. on December 25th, the police radio frequencies lit up. It started with an officer in the town of Mansfield, Missouri, reporting a brilliant, star-like object moving erratically at low altitude. Soon, officers in several other counties began radioing in, confirming the same object. For over an hour, a tense, real-time drama unfolded over the airwaves. You can almost hear the strain in their voices as units from different departments communicated, trying to track and corral this light as it darted over hills and highways. One moment, it would be hovering, dead still in the sky. The next, it would accelerate to an incredible speed, disappearing over a ridge only to reappear miles away moments later. They chased it, they cornered it, and it toyed with them. So, what does the official record say? The U.S. Air Force's Project Blue Book, the government's official UFO investigation body, meticulously cataloged these events. Their conclusion, for nearly every single case in this massive wave, was disappointingly mundane. Planet Venus or starlight refraction. That's the official story. A planet and a trick of the light. This brings us to the theory board. Theory 1, the official explanation, which is misidentification. The Air Force stance asks us to believe that dozens of trained observers, police officers, sheriffs, and military pilots were collectively fooled by the brilliant winter appearance of the planets Venus and Jupiter, their light perhaps distorted by atmospheric temperature inversions common on cold nights. This theory requires a massive leap of faith. It asks us to accept that experienced professionals, people whose jobs depend on clear observation, mistook a stationary planet for a low-altitude craft they actively chased across multiple counties for over an hour. It's a theory that feels less like an explanation and more like a dismissal. This was 1973, a time of deep national cynicism. The Watergate scandal was unraveling, and public trust in government institutions was at an all-time low. This context is crucial. When the Air Force offered a simple, almost condescending explanation, many people simply didn't buy it. It felt like another instance of the authorities telling the public not to believe their own eyes. Theory 2, covert military testing. The early 1970s were a golden age of black projects and advanced aircraft development at places like Area 51. The most compelling piece of evidence for this theory is the repeated description of the object S-shape, a triangle. This specific geometry would later become synonymous with secret stealth projects like the F-117 Nighthawk and the B-2 Spirit bomber. Is it plausible that the U.S. military was testing a revolutionary new aircraft over the rural heartland? It would explain the advanced performance, the speed, the silence, and the official cover-up. Keeping local law enforcement in the dark would be standard procedure. The Ozarks, with its low population density and wide-open spaces, would have been an ideal testing ground. Perhaps Sheriff Buckner and those officers on Christmas night got an accidental sneak peek at the future of aviation. Finally, Theory 3, the true unknown. This theory is the simplest, and for many, the most compelling. It takes the witnesses at their word. The objects they described displayed characteristics: silent propulsion, instantaneous acceleration from a dead stop, and sustained low-altitude hovering that matched no known public or, arguably, even secret technology of 1973. For proponents of this view, the sheer volume and quality of the witness testimony is the most important data point. When dozens of credible, trained individuals report the same impossible thing, perhaps the most logical conclusion is that they saw something genuinely unexplained, a phenomenon that lies outside our conventional understanding of science and technology. The Ozark Flap did not happen in a vacuum. It was the explosive peak of a massive, nationwide wave of UFO sightings throughout 1973, one of the most intense in history. The pressure from this wave reached the highest levels of government, reportedly leading to secret briefings for the CIA. Ironically, Project Blue Book had been officially closed in 1969, with the government declaring the UFO problem solved. The 1973 wave proved that declaration to be profoundly premature. The enduring legacy of this case is its role as a key example of the credible witness problem. This is the dilemma that official investigators constantly face. How do you explain away sightings made by the very people society tasks with being its most reliable observers? When a police officer who can identify any car model at a glance reports a craft unlike any vehicle on Earth, their testimony carries immense weight. To dismiss it as Venus feels intellectually dishonest to many. Modern UFO researchers and historians still reference the 1973 reports with a sense of awe, and the description of large, silent, triangular craft has only become more common in the decades since, creating a fascinating through line from that cold Ozark winter to the UAP mysteries of the present day. Ultimately, The Ozark UFO Flap of 1973 is a mystery framed by credibility. It presents a direct, head-on conflict between documented, first-hand experience from trusted sources and an official, dismissive conclusion from a distant authority. It forces a fundamental question. When the authorities on the ground report the unexplained, who do we trust? The case file from Project Blue Book may be stamped closed, but the testimony of those who looked up into the sky during that cold Christmas season remains an open, defiant challenge to the tidy story we've been told. Do you side with the ground-level witnesses or the official explanation? What does this case tell us about the limits of institutional credibility? Share your analysis in the comments below. And for more investigations into stories that were simply filed away, subscribe to Chronicles of the Obscure. Thanks for watching.